All right, folks, this is the first of my next set of videos, and we have a full moon lunar eclipse. No, blah, 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 blah. We do have a full moon lunar eclipse, which is what this video is about, but we have a full moon in Aries on October the 1st. So as I start to prepare videos related to that, I wanted to go ahead and do this particular video, which is a short video, so 3 cheers to that, but an important video. 3 cheers to that. There's a full moon lunar eclipse in the sign of Gemini on November the 30th. 2 months before that date, September the 30th, is an important marker for that eclipse. I would pull out a piece of paper and I would make note of important developments that have occurred in this past week, so the week before September 30th and the week after September 30th, okay? Some people will feel the eclipse now. Some people will get further information with regard to what these eclipses are bringing into our lives for the rest of 2020, for the rest of 2021, and into the first half of 2022. This is the first of the Gemini eclipses and the second of the Sagittarius Gemini eclipses. We are in the second half of 2020, as a friendly reminder, doing a handoff between the eclipses in Cancer Capricorn to the new set of eclipses that are coming in Gemini Sagittarius. The last solar eclipse, which sets up a 6-month cycle, occurred on June the 21st in the sign of Cancer, allowing us to finish up what we need to finish up around either acquiring skills, taking up challenges, learning lessons related to where the sign of Cancer is in your chart, what house it occupies, what house that stands for, that have been in place since the middle of July 2018. And the new set of energies came into play around April the 5th of this year, because there was a full moon lunar eclipse in Sagittarius on June the 5th of this year, and now are going to gather momentum starting September the 30th, the week before, week after, and start to take a greater share of the pie, indeed consuming the entire pie as we get to 2021. And in the second half of 2021, we start to do our next handoff from the eclipses of Gemini, Sagittarius to Taurus, Scorpio. Now, why is the full moon lunar eclipse in Gemini especially important? Because Gemini is hosting the North Node eclipses, which means that whatever is occurring in the sign of Gemini is where we need to lean into, either to acquire skills that we need in order to proceed with the rest of our lives, or to avail of opportunities. The sign of Gemini and where it sits is where you are being beckoned to follow, to lean into, to figure out what lessons you need to learn there, what skills you need to acquire, where it's the next part of your hero's journey. It's where the next path leads to. It's where the opportunities lie. It's where the path to the pot of gold leads to, so to speak. And so it is a full moon lunar eclipse. It's not starting a cycle. It's leading to some sort of culmination by November 30th. But the story doesn't end there. The story continues into 2021 and even the first half of 2022. Okay? The first of the eclipses, as I said, was in Sagittarius, the eclipses of releasing something, April to June of 2020. This next set of eclipses is important because it really is ushering in these Gemini Sagittarius eclipses for good. So take out a piece of paper, think about important or significant things that have happened this past week and this coming week before September 30th, week after September 30th. When it comes to full moon lunar eclipses, sometimes, but eclipses in general, it's either situations being eclipsed into your life or out of your life. It can be people, it can be situations. Pay special attention to intimations of mortality with eclipses. You hear that someone is getting information about a terminal illness. Sorry to be morbid, but we see the frequency of this increases. A situation is coming to an end. As I said, some people will feel this the week before and week after November 30th, some people the week before, week after September 30th. For some people, something starts to gather momentum now, and by the time you get to November the 30th, it reaches some sort of first phase of culmination. A full moon lunar eclipse can mean visibility, the light being revealed on a particular situation. It's a full moon lunar eclipse, something coming to completion, something reaching some sort of a dramatic or a breaking point. Limelight, emotional catharsis, endings. whether it's happening this week and next week, whether there's more sense of it this week and next week being really important, just make note of what is coming and how you're feeling and take it from there, okay? In general, when it comes to the sign of Gemini, we're going to be asked to lean into this kind of Gemini energy more, being plugged into the communities around us, being really plugged into the spirit of communication, less isolation, more reliance on information, data, gossip, politics, and by that I mean the day-to-day politics of how group environments work and how communication occurs and who has power and who doesn't, and opportunities may come to you from other people a lot more in a certain sense by being plugged in and keeping your ear to the ground and understanding what is happening and where it's happening, bulletin boards, news, information, data, being plugged into people around you, colleagues, to some extent friends, networks, but really just it's going to be time temporarily for the next couple of years to release a kind of isolation, spiritual superiority approach and really start to get plugged into the community around you and see what information that brings and how it is that that information can be availed of. There might also be lessons around how you are in community around you. Do you have a tendency to gossip? Do you have a tendency to be a little bit manipulative? Do you have a tendency to, are you over dependent? You know, just let me bring this back to focus. The week before September 30th and after September 30th, very important weeks. Make note of what is happening, what is possibly coming to culmination. Is it an offer? Is something getting completed? Are you driven into the limelight? Is someone getting news, or are you getting news of something serious that has to be dealt with, that has a health or mortality issue? Is there intimations of something that are going to need a certain amount of attention over the next couple of years? For some people, it's going to be more dramatic than for others, but I would make note of it for a variety of reasons. There are other astrological, as it happens, you can't make this up. You know, Saturn goes direct today or tomorrow, which means that we have both Jupiter and Saturn now direct in Capricorn, making their way through Capricorn by December. We have a full moon in Aries where we are hosting Mars for 6 months and where it's conjunct Chiron. You know, there's plenty going on that makes September 30th and the dates thereabout important and significant. But the thing that really pulls it all together in this kind of galvanizing way is this idea or notion of, I mean, just think of news related to other people or even public figures. Just think of what's happened with taxes in a certain sense with the current president, irrespective of what your political affiliation is. Think about what bubbles up to the surface, right? It doesn't mean this is a story and a saga that is developing for everybody. And they're all over the place, and a lot depends on where the sign of Aries is in your chart, where we have a full moon in 2 days' time, where the sign of Cancer and Capricorn in our chart, and when, you know, especially talking about what we're talking about right now, where the sign of Gemini is in your chart, what houses these occupy. There's the sign of Scorpio is getting lit up because Mercury goes retrograde in Scorpio in the middle of October. And the various planets are going to be making their transits there. So Scorpio is going to be hosting a certain amount of focus too. The energies are scattered, but they're coming together to create a narrative. And October is going to be a hell of a ride as we head towards, at least in the US, that November 3rd date, but for all of us as we head towards December. Now the churn is really underway, and now the idea of wrapping up the old and entering in the new, you know, fasten your seatbelts. For the purpose of this video, I'm going to finish it before the 10-minute mark. Make note of what has been occurring, and if you know and understand your chart, look at where Gemini sits, what house it occupies, and what that house stands for, and start to get present to leaning into the area of the chart where Gemini is and releasing something where Sagittarius is. Okay? More to follow. If you liked this video, found it useful, feel free to share it, talk about it, subscribe to my YouTube channel, click on the bell icon when you subscribe so that you're notified when I do new videos. My contact information is going to be the subject area, so if you want to inquire about rates for readings, or I also make easy to read versions of your chart that tell you which sign is in which house and what those houses stand for, contact me, inquire about the rate. Do not send me your personal information until you are sure that you want to avail of my services, and we will take it from there. More videos to follow soon. thank you to anyone who has been waiting for these videos and follows me and supports this channel. Thank you very much. All right.